Let's take a breath together. So I have a confession to make. I cheated on my wife last night and I spent the night with Howard Thurman. All night. Cuddled up on the couch with Howard Thurman. When things in this planetary realm become so challenging for me that I get lost in my humanness, I go to Howard Thurman. Because Howard Thurman, as a black man, as a scholar, as a minister, living from 1900 to 1981, knows a little bit about navigating the pressures of humanity. Just a little bit. And so, the first place that it took me was to this quote in Jesus and the Disinherited, in the chapter titled Hate, page 77. Above and beyond all else, it must be borne in mind that hatred tends to dry up the springs of creative thought in the life of the hater, so that their resourcefulness becomes completely confused, completely focused on the negative aspects of their environment. The urgent needs of the personality for creative expression are starved to death. A person's horizons may become so completely dominated by the intense character of their hatred that there remains no creative residue in their mind and spirit to give to great ideas, to great concepts. I think that accurately describes humanity right now. There is no doubt that we are in tumultuous times. I would like really have to be on some serious mood and mind-altering drugs to say anything else, right? We are very challenged right now, more so than I think in any time in history, because we've dealt with pandemics before. We've dealt with political unrest before. We've dealt with civil rights issues before. We've dealt with power structures that are out of control before. But I'm not sure we've dealt with all of them in our awareness at the same time. See, I think this is what this thing called COVID is giving us. It is breaking down all of the barriers of time and space. It is breaking down all of the nice and neat categories that allowed us to compartmentalize our hatred and to couch our hatred and otherness as something other than what it actually is. And I think it's a tremendous gift we're being offered, and how we deal with it will determine how long we get to experience it. Now, I can't prove that. I can't. I'm not a scientist. I know enough about science and quantum physics to be dangerous. Right? I know enough about it to understand the spirituality within it. But I'm not going to pretend that I understand science. What I do understand is that science advances itself by disproving itself. that science is constantly disproving everything it knows in order to know something new. If not, we would still be naked on a planet trying to appease some entity in the sky for the phenomenon of weather. Okay? But now we have some science, and we have some understanding of thunderstorms and lightning and hail, right? So we don't have to sacrifice each other on some altar to make the storm stop. It will stop eventually. Right? And so how do we know that? We know that from science. And so perhaps, our invitation in metaphysics is to understand the spiritual beyond the physical. That's really what metaphysics means. Life beyond the physical. Right? And beyond the physical is the spiritual. They're not separate. They're just different aspects of the same thing. Our physical expression is not separate from our spiritual source. It's simply how our spiritual source is choosing to express itself. And this idea that there's something outside of us that's going to fix this, we have to start there. Right? Because there's not. There's nothing outside of you that's different from you. It expresses differently because it individualizes itself in every form so that it can expand its experience of itself, but it's not separate. There's not little, however many billion pods of creation running around completely separate. Scientifically, if we were actually completely separate, we wouldn't even be able to recognize one another. Do you know that? That scientifically, separation would render us unrecognizable to each other. We wouldn't even know each other was here. That's how you know you're not separate. You can see one another. Okay? And that's science. So this month, we're taking a pause for guidance. But I want to be clear, we're not taking a pause to beseech some authority outside of us to tell us what to do. That's not guidance, that's confusion. That's an advocation of your responsibility to tap into the divine wisdom that is your birthright, that is your makeup. Today's talk title is Time for a Tune-Up. Now, if you take your car to the garage for a tune-up, they're going to go through certain things within your vehicle, and they're going to make sure that those things are all firing in alignment, right? That your spark plugs are firing in alignment with the distributor cap, and that is sending electricity in alignment to your valves, and it scares me that I even know this stuff. Okay. Like I said, I know enough to be dangerous, because beyond that, I'm out. Yeah. But the bottom line is, what I know is if one spark plug is misfiring, your whole vehicle misfires when you're driving down the road. Unplug one spark plug wire, and you'll be boom, boom, boom. Every time it goes to where that spark plug wire is, there's a misfire, and you feel it. The solution is really simple. You take it to the shop, and someone who knows what they're doing assesses it and repairs it. So perhaps in this thing called life, it would behoove us when we need a tune-up to seek out someone who knows what they're doing, who can help us get in alignment spiritually. In our faith tradition, those are called practitioners. Practitioners study for 5 years, and ongoing study is required. And their whole purpose is to know the truth of whoever sits in front of them. Beyond whatever circumstance brings you there, beyond whatever belief system is running you repeatedly into the brick wall, their job is to know the truth of you beyond that, and then to assist you to know that truth. They are not there to write you a prescription for how to solve your problems. That's not their job. Their job is to help you awaken to the reality that you are responsible for your experience, and to lovingly hand it back to you with some guidance on how you might want to handle it. Now, every minister in our movement is a practitioner before they are a minister. And I can tell you from being a licensed practitioner for many years, that process often upsets people because they don't want to pay someone to tell them that it's their responsibility. Right? They want to write a check to the practitioner to be told what to do, to give me a roadmap and an assurance that if I follow each one of these exactly, I will come to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It doesn't work that way. Because I don't know what your answers are. A practitioner doesn't know what your answers are. Guess who knows what your answers are? You do. But it doesn't mean you don't need some help to know that. Right? In Howard Thurman's book, The Inward Journey, which, as you can see, my volume of it has had quite the outward journey. Number 24 that starts on page 42. Keep open the door of thy heart. You want to know how to solve every challenge you're facing? Open your heart. Too many of us, as a minister, I counsel with folks all the time. And too many times I hear, it's just not safe for me to go through life with my heart open. Folks, it's way more dangerous to close it. Way more dangerous to close it. And in truth, if you open your heart, doesn't matter what anybody else does, opening your heart, really opening your heart, really anchoring and living in your heart makes you quite impervious to someone else's hate. Do you know that? Howard Thurman says this. It is a wondrous discovery when there is disclosed to the mind the fact that there may be no direct and responsible relation between two human beings that can determine their attitude toward each other. We are accustomed to thinking that one person's attitude toward another is a response to an attitude. The formula is very neat. Love begets love, hate begets hate, indifference begets indifference. Often this is true. Again and again, we try to mete out to others what we experience at their hands. Notice, we're doing that. That's not an innate law that does that. We're doing that. There is so much to be said for the contagion of attitudes. You think COVID is contagious? It has nothing on attitudes. Attitudes are the most contagious thing we deal with. Right? And interestingly enough, again, don't have the science to back it up, but my personal experience is bad attitudes are way more contagious than good ones. What's that about? Right? It might be because we are more prone to jump on the drama train of the bad attitude. Why? Because we're in a physical body that likes to feel alive. We're sensational beings. Right? Drama makes us feel alive. We created roller coasters to scare the bejabbers out of ourselves, to make us feel alive. We have TV shows that are all based on, last time I checked, and I watch them, some pretty negative drama, but we get all immersed and we feel really alive watching them. Don't make them bad. Right? There are moments in every person's life when they try to give as good as they get. Anybody else live in that place of, we can be a little vindictive, can't we? But notice, when was the last time that you experienced being the benefactor of love where you were just as committed to giving as good as you got in those situations? Anybody? Yeah, I think so. But let somebody do us wrong. Now we're in the land of, oh, you want to go there? Okay, I can play. But this presupposes that the relationship between human beings is somehow mechanical, as if each person is utterly and completely separated. This is far from the truth, even though it may seem to square with some of the facts of our experienced behavior. There is a profound ground of unity that is more pertinent and authentic than the unilateral dimensions of our lives. A person discovers when they are able to keep open the door of their heart. This is one's ultimate responsibility. It is not dependent on whether the heart of another is kept open to them. Here is a mystery. If sweeping through the door of my heart there moves continually a genuine love for you, it bypasses all your hate and all your indifference and gets through to the center of you. You are powerless to do anything about it. You may keep alive in devious ways the fires of your bitterness, but they cannot get through to me. Underneath the surface of all the tension, something else is at work. It is utterly impossible for you to keep another from loving you. Utterly impossible. True, you may scorn their love. You may reject it in all ways within your power. You may try to close every opening in your own heart. It will not matter. There is no easy sentimentality. This is no easy sentimentality, but it is the very essence and the vitality of all being. The word that love is stronger than hate and goes beyond death is the great disclosure to one who has found that they keep open the door of their heart. It matters not how many doors are closed against them. I promise you. And you guys have heard me say it before. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's not. I have had people say really nasty things to me. I've had my life threatened as a minister. Can't make me not love you. You can make me not like you. Right? I'm called to love you. I'm not called to like you. I don't have to like your behavior. But I do have to remind myself and own that none of us is our behavior. That you are not your behavior. That you are as much God as I am. You are as much spirit as I am. And so I want to close with here's the things to align with, right? Here are the spark plugs to align with. Truth. There is one power. Truth. Each expression of life is this one power, individualized in form. Truth. Each is 100% free to understand, access, and use this one power in whatever way each chooses. That's true. You don't have to like it, but it's true. Truth. Understanding, accessing, and using this one power differently never changes the one power. It changes how you experience it. But it doesn't change the power. Why do you need to know that? Because ultimately, the alignment is with yourself. There's only one self, one power, one presence. It is found inside, not outside. And so when you find yourself out of alignment, it's very simple. Go within. Go within. Pause. Pull all of your attention from all of this and go inward. You will never find alignment in the exterior. You go within, find alignment, and then be about the business of changing the exterior to bring that into alignment with the truth of your being. I want to close with this. Because Facebook, sometimes there's just really profound stuff on Facebook. This is what I'm reading from. It says, don't downgrade your dreams to match your reality. Upgrade your faith to match your vision. Let's take this into prayer. And so what I know is that there is only one. One infinite, ever-present allness. Doesn't matter what I call it. It is infinite. It is ever-present. It is eternal. It is infinite intelligence, infinite abundance, perfect love. It is the very freedom that I seek. I already have. It is my nature. It is what I am made of. And so I know that this one creates out of itself, by itself, to experience itself. So I must be itself in form, individualized. And I know what is true of me is true of all life. And so every divine, diverse, individualized form of this one, purposeful, intentional, to expand the divine's experience of itself, fully infused with all that creation is, its birthright, waiting in sweet repose to be noticed, to be embraced, to be aligned with and activated. And as we each activate that divinity within us, our experience in the eternal changes. Our experience in the ethereal changes. Our experience in the physical realm changes. And the physical in the physical changes to match alignment. And a world is created that works for everyone because it is a world in alignment with spiritual truth. The magnificence and diversity of spiritual truth, of spiritual expression. And so I know that that is the activity of every moment of this thing we call time and space. And so I speak my word that all of life leans into alignment with itself. That hate is set aside as each heart is opened. That love is the focus, the unmovable focus, the uncompromisable focus. Love and only love. A love that sees beyond behavior, that is never called to ignore, that takes action from love to heal, to advance love, to lift and raise the vibration. Love and only love. So knowing that the word spoken is the word complete, I can let go and let it be because it's already done. And I look for the evidence of it because I know by faith it is done, and my faith demands that I look for the evidence. And as I do, I see it. And so I let go. And I invite you, if any of this resonates with you, that you claim it as your own at whatever level is yours as we say together,